Hey there, it's Phil from Lewis Hardy Fruit Trees. I'm going to tape a little video here today to just show you how to add fertility and fertilize your fruit trees and shrubs. So I'll show you here, and this speaks to my own failure, is that I planted these hascaps quite a few years ago and they've always kind of underperformed and struggled. And when I say the hascaps are tolerant, I mean, I really mean it. They'll grow just about anywhere. So you can see where I'm growing here. It's probably hard to see, but there's actually, it was all backfilled and there's actually like some concrete and asphalt under here. This whole area used to be some sort of pad or platform. This was my property here was historically a trailer park. So this was all grown in and you know, grown up over the kind of 10 years. So there's a small layer of soil, and then there was actually a pad under here. And you know, when I talk about picking where you're going to plant, you know, and checking your soil out first, you know, when I planted, I just picked where I wanted them. And then I thought, soil's no big deal, we'll make it work. But, you know, I busted through this asphalt and planted these things. And I mean, they did, you know, they grew. The first couple of years, they struggled. And then what I did is I actually mulched them here quite a bit with wood chips. And the next couple of years, they took right off. Now they're still, you know, smaller than they should be at this age. But they started to take right off after I did that. So when you're planting trees and shrubs, you want to think long term. You know, you could add, you know, liquid fertilizer, stuff like that. And oftentimes the trouble is it shoots up too much new growth, and that's not growth that's going to support itself long term. So you want to think of adding fertility long term to the soil. So these are some mature pear trees I have that, once again, have always been struggling. Despite their size, you know, they seem to be doing just fine, but they're struggling, and I worry now that they're starting to get what they call heart rot here, and it's just struggling. So what I did is I went ahead and added some fertility. So this is what I would suggest. So the first thing you could see, like if we see here, is I start with just putting down some cardboard. You could put down newspaper. You know, you could use the thick paper from the leaf bags. You could use just about anything. And I wouldn't use, you know, actual plastics or non-decomposable cloths and stuff. So put down some cardboard. And then the next thing I would do, if you're going to be serious and you have the opportunity, is put down some compost or something like that. So this is compost I had in the back. So put some of that down, and then what you'll do is cover it with wood chips. So you want to be pretty thick. I probably have, you know, a couple inches of compost here, and then I'll go 2-3 inches of wood chips. And what that's going to do is it's going to feed your trees slowly and add fertility to the soil for years to come. You know, not just you know, this quick release kind of commercial fertilizer. And every time it rains, it's going to filter down, leach through slowly. If you are going to fertilize with something else, you know, you would do it early season and sprinkle it a little bit on the top. Usually if you are going to use fertilizer, granules or something that is slower release is better than the quick release stuff. The other thing you want to make sure when you're fertilizing is never do it late in the season, like July, August-ish, because what's going to happen is it's going to throw up all kinds of new growth, and the new growth's not going to be hardy enough to survive the winter. So ideally, this is the best way to fertilize your trees. You know, add a layer of a bit of compost or a bit of something, and then wood chips on top, and let that slowly decompose. And then that'll feed it for years to come, and that'll add fertility to the soil. So, and like I said about the hascaps, they'll grow anywhere, you know, they just won't thrive, you know. So these ones here are actually a couple years older than these ones, but these ones, when I planted, you know, I put the wood chips down, and this is likely where just based on the fact that grass actually grows here, the soil's probably a bit better than this small piece. You can kind of see where there's no grass and just weeds, where it was all this asphalt. And I mean, I just plop them in, and you know, they're living. I get lots of berries every year, But I'm going to take it serious here and come around and, you know, put more of these wood chips and then put them, you know, farther out, and that'll slowly add fertility. And that is how I would recommend, you know, adding fertility to your soil and fertilizing your trees. We're pretty, I wouldn't say absolutely against, but reluctant to suggest, you know, commercial fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, stuff like that, because it's just really quick, you know, and then the trees have this quick growth, but not enough to sustain itself long term. So when you're planting trees, is different than your vegetable garden, is you want to think, you know, long term, because these are going to be there, you know, 20, 50, 100 years. So think about that when you're planting. Hopefully that helps. I know we get lots of questions about fertilizing, you know, when to fertilize, stuff like that. So there you have it.